welcome to the living room. We're very happy that you're here, and we're very happy to invite you to our living room. This is the first in our series where we talk to local artists and practitioners about their craft and their journey. So we're very, very pleased to have in the inaugural living room, first edition, a conversation with Mr. Michael Chiang. Michael Chiang. But I've structured the talk or the chat about 4 sections. So after each, I'll open the floor up for questions if you have any kind of questions. So it's not going to be lumping it all towards the end for a Q&A. So feel free to chip in. It's a chat. So Belachan, welcome to the living room.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so we start from the beginning. Can you remember the first play, doesn't have to be performed or published, that you ever wrote?
Beauty Box was performed, but I'm not sure about. I did write something for a friend who was working at the airport. It was a skit. I don't remember, it was pre-Beauty Box, post-Beauty Box. I wrote like a 10-minute skit.
10-minute skit.
For a corporate event.
For a corporate event. So that's my executive director says you need to use.
Can't hear you.
Okay, so let's bring everything back to the beginning. Impacts, influences. Did you like to read?
It's quite a voracious reader as a kid. I grew up in War. It's a small town between Batu Pahat and Malacca. And my father was a school teacher, so we spoke English at home. So I read a lot, but I was just reading non-stop. I read all of the English readings from Loon to Daniel to Playwrights. I felt like I was an English child trapped in this Chinese person.
So what attracted you to stay in it, Brighton?
I just enjoyed the adventures. I just always get inspired. All the stories about kids getting into scrapes and finding missing things, trying to find a way around adventures. And so I guess I enjoyed it because maybe that's quite trapped in this small little town.
So after that, did you move on to different kinds of fiction or kinds of?
So I think I read all of the books, all of the different books. I can't remember from the library or my sister's bought them to me. So I kept reading to evening, and then after that I moved on to Agatha Christie. Just probably like I can't late primary school or early secondary school. Quite addictive. So I just read everything she wrote. Just everything. I always trying to guess who the killer was, guess who the motive was. It's just kind of guessing game and I enjoyed it.
So what kind of reading habits do you read at night? Do you, like, every time there's a free time, just always have a book in your bag and you can just pick up and read it?
I don't remember, I just knew that I read very fast.
You read very fast?
Yeah, I read very fast. Very, very fast.
Did you ever read plays?
No, not a single thing.
That's plays. Very good. So after that, so all these, do you think that they had any kind of influence on your writing?
I never thought about it, but I guess possibly the idea of imagination, creating worlds. As kids, always running out to do things, trying to figure out who did what to whom. Maybe that, so the plot device could have been better in my head back then.
Because it's very interesting that you talked about these children lost, finding their way home. Because a lot of the characters in your, good book by the way, please find it. A lot of the characters in your plays are like foundlings. They're kind of lost and they need to find their way back home. Whether it's Ivy Chan going to Beauty World to find her identity, it's always a running motif. So I'm quite intrigued. Sorry, I'm quite intrigued by that. So coming back to you and the written word, you like reading. What do you think is your relationship with language?
I think this back then, it wasn't customary for most homes to speak English, back in Asia especially. Most friends spoke Chinese at home. So I was probably more fluent than most of my classmates. So I always did better in English. I'm not getting a double promotion. But jumping from standard 1 to standard 3. So I skipped standard 2, which was primary 2. So I didn't chew on that. Because I was quite comfortable with language, sure. So you'd be in the teacher's pet because you speak quite well. And being favored, being not doing treats or whatever they are. So in that sense, I knew that English, rather than language, was going to help me in a lot of ways. Even back when I was a kid.
One of the things that I personally feel like, I don't know how the rest of you, that you have a very good ear to listen to dialogue, right? Your use of local English, very natural. Funny, but very natural. Not like some people using it very forced, the laughs are all in the wrong places. You have a very good ear. Did you always know that you could pick up these things and you're able to use that in your text?
No, I think that one point about long language learners, because I worked at SPH, Straight Time School, for about 6 years. So every day you go to different people, different kinds of scholars, to the midwife or something, to do the Queen next day, to do some problems, to do TV stars, celebrities. So I'm always interviewing people. So I guess from listening to all of that, I kind of picked up maybe it was called skill or the ability to just remember how people spoke. So I like listening to how people speak. And I'm quite particular when I write it, that the rhythm has to be just
No, I think that's the thing that is really quite undervalued, the rhythm of the speech. So the other day, we were working on a project, so we read Beauty Box. And we were quite amazed at how, even though you play with stereotypes, for those of you who don't know, Beauty Box is a play about Miss Singapore Shopping Centre, the title to get Miss Singapore Shopping Centre. So various constituencies send their representative for shopping centres send their representatives, and each particular Miss Shopping Centre from district had a very distinct voice. And during that, this session that we were reading it, Nora, who was in Bumble, told me that you wrote it with the actors in mind. Did you? Or
1984.
like for Janina, but the voice of each character is so distinct. How did that come about?
This is actually a bit of inside joke, because I had a colleague at the office. Her name's Peggy, and we worked at Kim Seng Road, which is the old Straight Times office. And she would go every lunchtime to Lamb Club, which just opened back then. And she would go every lunchtime. And then one day she comes back, you see Michael, I'm so embarrassed. The security guard looked at me and said, "Do you work here?" And so she was very embarrassed. She said, "Oh, I go shopping so often." So I just said, "Oh, they should name me Miss Lamb Club." So that became a nickname for her. I just call her Miss Lamb Club. So when the idea came to do the play, I thought, oh, why not have a Miss Lamb Club, Miss People's Park, Miss Santa Claus. So that's how that idea started. I just wanted to have a representative of all the popular shopping centers. And then once I decided on the shopping mall, then I create a person that I felt typified the demographic for that mall. So People's Park, she worked in a launch, in a cocktail launch, as she calls it. And the center point was where all the expats, so we got an expat called Kitty to play, and she wore herself by the typical, expat, one go local kind of feeling. So I did the whole thing because I really pushed it right to the end.
So how did that go? Did you hear so you had the shopping center, so when you create the characters, you hear the character first, or you see the character, or you just sort of know what type of basis? It all comes together.
So I see a picture of someone and I think, okay, she's going to be Miss Vice Plaza, and she's going to look like this. So I start describing her. She's going to wear tank top, yellow socks. I describe the whole thing. I don't describe it in detail, the character. And she'll be obsessed about something, and it will be very clear when she opens her mouth what she's about. And then I get then I start working on the rhythm and the how she speaks.
So So you literally have a character sketch, but in words you describe, it just pops up. It just pops out. Okay. In terms of the rhythm, so, and again, I think this is really quite understudied in this. Every character has a different rhythm. So is that also generated from a shopping center, or are you more interested in how each must play off the other, and so on and so forth, in terms of the balance? Because the Miss Center Point's rhythms are completely different from Miss Party's Plaza, and so on and so forth. Do you kind of like balance them out?
It's not conscious, it's just the way it happens. Once I start writing, it kind of writes itself. I just sit in front of that kind of typewriter. Now it's a laptop, but it kind of writes itself. I just know, I just put down, funny colon, and then the words come.
Okay, then segue to 1984. Now, I always feel that this Arts Festival in 1984 is quite a significant event because, I'll just give everybody some context, no real professional theatre company at the time. All the theatre companies were societies and amateur theatre companies. And then the festival at the time commissioned this group of, for want of a better word, independent artists to come together and to put on a show, right? The show was called Bumboat, and it was co-directed by an Asian American director called Tai Ma and Loon Xiao, who gathered a group of ragtag actors and Michael Chiang to write the feature box. So, talk us through that. At the time, professional playwriting in Singapore didn't exist. Yeah. So did Xiao Chong approach you, or did you already know some of the people? How did that come about?
Back then I was a journalist working in Sunday Times, and occasionally I wrote a humor column. Quite random, I write about taxi prices going up, and I'm walking the streets by myself, unable to get a taxi. I write about queuing up for tickets. I just do this really silly columns, but they indulged me, so it gave me the space to write. And then I got a call to just really the office. Somebody rings and says, "Hi Michael, I can't remember, I'm so and so. Read your columns, and would you be keen to contribute a script? Because we are collating scripts for this production next year." And he gave me the whole spiel. So I said, "I've never written a play." So they said, "You know what, we're having a meeting this Sunday, if you want to come and join us." And I thought, since he took the trouble to call me, I should go. So I turned up on a Sunday night, somewhere at Purdy Road. There's a single-story house, a very nice space, maybe 20 people. So I turned up, I knew nobody was, and they served drinks, but I don't drink. So I sat there, and then they started opening the scripts, and they read about maybe 4 scripts. So they were getting all the scripts, and it was very angsty stuff about Singapore. We were not happy about Singapore, we wanted to leave, suicide. I think it was just very So then they told me that we'll be getting the scripts, and all the scripts, almost every single one, was about Singapore in a very unhappy fashion. So they said, "Look, we don't really want the whole show to have this tone. So we're looking for someone to write a light-hearted piece, but we realized that no one's interested to write light-hearted piece. So since you do this humor column, do you think you can do it?" So I said, so I listened to what they were doing, and I thought, he wanted like a 30-minute script. So I said, "Okay, I can do this." So I went back. The following weekend, I wrote it in one night. Just sat down and came out the box thing. The Miss Liang Court. It started with the Miss Liang Court. That's how I thought. The Miss Liang Court. Let's do a Singapore shopping center quest. And then it's really pageant with an MC, and she introduces the 5 girls and finalists. And so it goes through. It's just a one-act play. So I just write, and I was actually laughing as I wrote. I thought it was very clever doing this. Then I finished it, submitted, and that was it. So, and that didn't work. And a few months later, they called and said, "Oh, we sent about 60 scripts to New York, to Taiwan, to the vet, and we picked 5 scripts, and one of them was yours." So I said, "Are you serious?" I thought, "I can't be serious about it, just waiting for fun." So then it's on, and we're going to the box. So then I go, and that's not there anymore. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anybody from that point. I think I probably met Laura, anybody first time. That's probably I met Dick first time. Because Dick wrote the theme song for Bumble. So there were 5 scripts. So mine was performed somewhere in there. Got horrible reviews by the way.
Well, we'll come to your horrible reviews later, and a giant section focusing on your horrible reviews. I want you to respond to them and speak back to the critics. But so after that, did you realize that, oh, I could do this? Because very shortly after that was Love and Belachan. So from somebody who wrote a humor column, who had a good relationship with literature, understood the cadence and all, banged up a script in an hour, no, a day, okay, in a day. Of horrible reviews, but never mind, you had a blast, met all these people. Then how did that lead to Love and Belachan?
I knew Keaton because we were working together at campus. He was my colleague. In fact, I kind of introduced Keaton to the job and then to his eventual wife. So we worked together, so I knew Keaton was a full-time actor, and we helped in the production at university. I was doing backstage crew in front of house, and Keaton flew back to do some show at university. So that's how I met him. And having written Beauty Box, so it came about that Belachan Place was putting up a gender show, and they wanted to call it Love and Belachan. So they said, do you want to write a piece, 30-minute piece? So I thought, sure, why not? The same thing, I just thought, why not? At that point, STU had just formed, and it was like a talk of STU, and everyone was making fun of it, so I don't think this is easy. So I knew Jacinta was going to be in, I knew Keaton, so I thought, okay, two people I know quite well, I knew how they speak. That's important to me. If I know how the two actors sound, it's a lot easier for me to craft the characters around. So I knew what I wanted. I wanted Jacinta to be this shy Indian school teacher, I wanted Keaton to be this sort of smart UK graduate who just comes back, and we both meet each other on the balcony outside this STU function, and both trying to be very cool, and the conversation begins. So it was quite easy to write. It was just writing what was supposed to be.
So did you sort of wanted to update Love and Belachan in Mixed Signals, or was it not related at all? Because Mixed Signals also had that sort of like a scenario with.
I'm not sure it's conscious, but I didn't want Jacinta to play the character again. Yeah, so it kind of stemmed from there. It's almost exception, like a remix Love and Belachan. Yeah.
So remix Love and Belachan. Then you had a double, right? Because then you had twins. Twins. So these, you started off with short plays, 30 minutes, Love and Belachan was 30 minutes. So why were you brave enough to write a full-length piece that eventually became Daze? So was it another why not?
It was why not. My whole life is why not. Yeah. I'd written the book Army Daze back in '85. And a year later, Xiao directed Beauty Box, and they really formed heroes by then. He said, Michael, you know, the book's done so well, why don't you write a play? And I said, no, I didn't know that, it's silly idea. So I didn't even think about this, and no, I'm not doing it. One year, he asked me again, he said, Michael, I actually think you should consider turning on these to a play. So I said, well, we can give you a slot on this date, etc., etc., so I said, okay, let me think about it. Because Army Daze was kind of written as a first-person account, so it's just one voice. I thought, I'll do this. Then I thought, okay, let's do the Beauty Box idea. Let's have 5 people. Let's have one Chinese boy, one Indian boy, one Malay boy, one English. So once it started, I hope it was 4 minutes. Once I knew I had 5 characters, the story just told itself again. It's quite simple. Because to me, Army is like that first day, you turn up at CMDB, and you turn up at camp, you get your haircut. To me, it kind of wrote itself. You just have to put all these things in place. And then how each of these 5 boys go through that. It was actually quite easy to write.
Are you a one draft playwright, or do you do multiple drafts?
One draft. I'm not sure. I think in later years I've become a lot more particular. So I'll change it, or depending, it's on consent. It's not you throw it back and say, doesn't work. Fall back to my corner and write a new draft. But otherwise, I try to do one draft.
Try to do one draft. So, I just want to talk about your process. So, you have all the characters in your head. And I know what you mean when you say the play wrote itself. But I think it's more you filling everything up. So, there is a particular moment when it's ready to be written, and then it just all comes out. Is that kind of the process, or do you just, what was it? What was it like?
having been a journalist for so long, I need a deadline first. You need to tell me we're performing the show in June. I need the script by end of March, and then I look at my watch and say, okay, now it's end of December. I still have 2 more months. So I just kind of ignore it, and then when it comes closer and closer, then I panic, and then I write. So I have to write to deadline. So I need to know I've got 4 more weeks to write, and then I panic and write. And when I write, I literally force myself to write. So I have to put down prologue, then I just think of the scene, and I put it down. Then I go to Act 1, Scene 1, and I just look at the template and it's just a lot.
So you write chronologically?
I write chronologically.
So you don't...
And I have no idea where it's going. A lot of times I start the play without knowing what's going to happen in Act 2. I know I need the cliffhanger before finishing, so I try and always end at some point where it closes and the audience kind of stops and that's happening. So I have that in mind. I have a very visual idea of writing. I kind of visualize reactions from the audience as well.
Talk to me about what do you mean by visual way of writing?
I see the plays a lot. Which is why I can describe the characters quite in detail. I kind of see where the light should go. She walks in from stage left. She turns to the audience, and I kind of expect the audience to be ready to that motion, to that movement.
So if you write that way, and when the actual play is staged, is there a big disparity? Do you feel like that's not how I saw it?
Usually no. Most times it's happened quite close to the way I picture it. There are some occasions when it's gone off the page. Again, depends on who it is. If it's someone like Sam, quite trust, or someone that works quite closely, then I say, okay, not what I expected, but sure, let's try that. So I'm not precious about how it's played.
Okay. Now I want to come and talk about a few plays. And again, my personal favorite of all this collection is a small little play called Private Parts. That was an arts festival submission in 1992. So I just want to bring people back to the good old days and show you a clip.